What was your most embarrassing moment as a teacher? Uh, I would guess probably at the end of the year when we were having our last day of school, and I knew most of the kiddos that I had were going on to kindergarten. I would tend to get very emotional saying goodbye. Um, so I would say that was probably my most embarrassing. What was your most proud moment as a teacher? I would say my most proud moment as a teacher was finding out that one of the past students that I had had, their parents had recommended me to another family for their preschool teacher to request me. And I found that extremely amazing and wonderful. And I felt like, wow, I'm really doing something right, I guess. Okay, this is hilarious. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? Uh, I'm gonna say one horse-sized duck because I wouldn't think that a duck could move super fast, maybe, whereas horses would move pretty fast. So I think 100 duck-sized horses could probably overtake me pretty quickly. But one horse-sized duck, I feel like I could outrun one horse-sized duck. Why? What do you talk about too much at parties? Parties give me the heebie-jeebies, number one. But I guess if I talk about anything too much, it's probably my kids because I think they're amazing and interesting people. And maybe travel because I do love to travel. I guess that's it. What's the funniest thing that ever happened to you in the classroom? That's a tough one. I would say just working with my teaching assistant, we were constantly cracking each other up. In particular, I remember we were doing um, a unit on travel, and we would dress up as a pilot and a co-pilot and have all the kids in chairs behind us and pretend we were flying a plane. And I don't know why, but we could not keep a straight face through the entire thing. We were laughing so hard, but we had a blast together. She and I, it was really fun. So I guess that would be the funniest thing that happened in the classroom for me, working with her. What hobby are you most passionate about? Um, I vacillate between sewing and drawing and journaling, my dogs, cooking occasionally. I have lots of interests. I'm a multi hobby person. What was your least favorite thing about professional development as a teacher? My least favorite thing would be having I can't remember if it was OSHA or the first aid guy come in every single year, and it was like a 2-hour presentation on first aid and what you do in an emergency, and it was the same thing every year, and it was always right after school, and we had to sit there and listen to the same spiel every year. It's boring. What's your most recent TV show for binge watching? My most recent is Bad Sisters on Apple TV, which is just an amazing show if you have not seen it. And being someone who didn't have any sisters, I think it's super fun. But great show, highly recommend it. Has a parent ever made you laugh or cry? Yes, parent has definitely made me cry. In the preschool that I was in, that I was working in, I had a number of families of children. So there was one family, I had all three boys at different times, staggered certainly. And whenever the last kiddo in the family would go through preschool, I had several moms that were crying because it was the last time we were going to be working together. So yeah, really got me. But yeah, they made me cry. When did you doubt yourself the most as a teacher? Aside from the time when I first started, I would say the time that we had a child in our classroom who was undiagnosed autistic and just a handful, and I was unprepared to work with him, and it was extremely challenging. And I was wondering if I really had what it took at that point in time. That was a tough year, but made it through somehow. Who was the best teacher you ever had? The best teacher I ever had was Mr. Nickerson in seventh grade. And he was so amazing and old school. He would make everyone stand up when he walked in the room and say, "Good morning, Mr. Nickerson." And then the boys had to pull the chairs out for the girls and seat them, and we all had to sit down. And he was amazing. You'd never get away with that today, I know, but he had us over to his house in small groups to teach us how to have table manners, with a formal dinner. It's crazy. But he was an amazing teacher. Everyone loved him. Who was the toughest student I ever had? The toughest student I ever had probably was a little girl who was coming out of a terrible family situation, had never been around other children, and she was almost 5. And it was difficult because my inner mother was kicking in. So it was really hard to draw the line between being a teacher and being a mother to her. She had been so neglected. So that was probably my hardest, toughest student I've ever had. Okay, so my first question here is, when was a time you felt happy and confident outside the classroom? Honestly, I would say yesterday with one of my cohorts, a group of teachers that I've been with for a few months now, and we had a great time talking and sharing ideas, and it was just super fun. There was a lot of laughing. It was the day after Thanksgiving, or not Thanksgiving. It was the day after Halloween, so they had a long day and were ready to discuss. So it was super fun.